All right, Shira Adatto, I'm very excited to get to interview you today. Thanks for being on the channel with us and telling us a little bit about sunny California.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Sweet. All right, this is going to be a really fun conversation. So, of all the states I've done so far, you're probably going to be the most polar opposite. So, why don't we start talking about weather? Tell us a little bit about what's California's like.
Yeah, Southern California, the weather is really why people pay the big bucks to come out here.
Sure.
Uh, we have, I'm specifically talking about the South Bay where I'm close to the beach
Hmm.
communities. And I would say, 80% of the year we're in the high 60s or 70s, warm, comfortable, balmy,
Hmm.
low humidity, great clean air from that ocean breeze. And here in the South Bay, particularly, we run about 10 degrees cooler than even Los Angeles,
Oh,
20 degrees cooler than the San Fernando Valley.
interesting.
So people love it down here because most of the homes until recently weren't even built with air conditioning.
Oh, really? Do you guys get snow ever? Or I'm assuming not.
Never, never. No.
Okay, that's awesome.
But you can get to snow, within about 90-minute to 2 hour drive. That's
Sure.
what another one of the beautiful things about California. You can access any
Yeah.
climate, within a 2 hour drive practically.
Sure, you got the mountains close by, which is very cool. I'm from Colorado, so I'm a little bit jealous that the mountains are so close for you guys. That's awesome. Well, that's the exact opposite of everything that we've got here, as you would imagine. Lots of snow in the winter, very cold. I guess I don't know what our average temperature is year round, but it's probably maybe 60, 70. So we'll get very hot, but we've got the humidity, which apparently you don't have. So we'll get hot and humid, kind of sticky. Right now it's August and it's going to be 90 degrees today. So that's warm for us. But then obviously it falls off like a cliff, and then the winters are frozen, negative temperatures, definitely a lot of snow. I don't think we get as much snow as a lot of people think, at least in the Twin Cities. I'm sure we'll get a total of a couple 2 or 3 feet a year, but it's not like there's like mountain snowbanks that you're driving through, which I think a lot of the movies make it seem like. But very very cold, and California sounds fantastic. I've actually never been to California, so
How
uh,
many months a year is there snow, would you say?
ooh, like half of them. Probably. I mean, it usually starts like Thanksgiving, Christmas time, and then it'll stay through, April sometimes. Definitely through March. February, March is going to be our snowiest months. So it's definitely a solid winter for a good 5 or 6 months out of the year. And we don't have a lot for fall and spring. I mean, it's just really cold and then it's really hot. It seems like. So we switch very quickly.
Yeah, we have a lot of hot, but not much rain. And the downside of that is we don't have a lot of green.
Sure. Yeah. That is something I love about Minnesota. It's very green. There's lots of stuff to do outside. We're the land of 10,000 lakes, they call it. And so there's just lakes everywhere. Lots of green space, lots of trails, lots of hiking, lots of going up to the cabin and boating and fishing and all that stuff. So we are super green. So I'll give the state that much, that it's not all negative in Minnesota. Okay, well, let's move on. Let's talk about taxes. So this is going to be one of the things that California is kind of known for, is you guys have super high taxes. Why don't we talk about that between income taxes and property taxes? What do you guys got going on?
Super high income taxes. It's one of the biggest reasons families and companies are moving out of California.
Sure.
But on the flip side, we have pretty low property taxes. We pay under 1%.
Yeah.
I think we fall 16th lowest property
Yep.
taxes. So it kind of
Good.
balances itself out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Minnesota is not as high. So I think we have the opposite, right? So you guys have lower than us with property taxes. You're a little under 1%. We're a little over. I think 1.1 or something is the average, versus you guys are at like 0.75%. But our state income tax is actually lower. Not a whole lot lower. I think we're ranked number 4 or 5 out of the country. So we've actually got higher income taxes as well. That I'm sure is just lots of infrastructure or something. So not necessarily a strong point with either of our states, but just something to be aware of for people. Why don't we talk about real estate prices? I mean, first of all, what kind of styles of houses do you guys have out there? I imagined a lot of like stucco and Spanish tile roofs. Is that right? Or what do you guys have for
It used
architecture?
to be the case. Now we're seeing, the trend like everywhere, these modern farmhouse. We really have
Sure.
everything. Maybe what's not so prominent is kind of like a colonial style, but a
Okay.
lot of Spanish, Mediterranean, modern farmhouse,
Sure.
Cape Cod style beachy homes.
Okay, cool. And you're in like Torrance, El Segundo area.
Yeah, the South Bay it's the
Sure.
southwestern part of the Santa Monica Bay. So we're
Okay.
south of LAX airport, running from El Segundo down to the Palos Verdes Peninsula.
Okay. Really cool. Is that a newer area or an older area as far as age of homes?
No, it's been, I mean, it's really, it was, used to be quiet little sleepy beach communities many
Mhm.
years ago. The three main beach communities, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, and Redondo Beach. And
Cool.
people looking for quaint, quieter, more suburban feel, but still with the proximity to a bigger city and close to LAX airport.
Sure.
Um, yeah.
Okay, cool. I love it. I mean, Minnesota is, I think where you guys are so densely populated, we're definitely a lot more spread out. So we've got Minneapolis and St. Paul right next to each other. So we've kind of got two main downtowns. But then the suburbs are just immediate. And so within just 10, 15 minutes, you get to more suburban types of homes, still older, maybe early 1900s in the metros there. But then as you get out further, 60s and 70s built homes, and then newer as you go further out. So, but we don't have any Spanish style or beach or Cape Cod or any of that kind of stuff. We have more craftsmen, more of your kind of run of the mill properties. So, okay. And then let's talk about prices. What's kind of an average price point? Let's say if I'm a first time buyer, what kind of a price point am I probably going to be looking at for a single family in South Bay?
That's a tricky question around here. So there are neighborhoods where you can find a starter home they would say the median, what the median price says it is and what it actually is are two different things. So
Okay.
they say 600s, 700s for a starter home,
Okay.
but in reality, it's really hard to find homes in that price range around
Sure.
here.
Okay.
We're probably looking at more 800,000, 900,000. That probably comes like a bit of a shock to anyone outside of California that's a
Sure.
first-time buyer home. How about you
Yep.
guys?
So that would be definitely luxury market in our area, 600 or 800 pretty much. It depends on the area. So if we're looking more towards the west side of the metro, prices will certainly go up, or the south side. But even in those areas, the median is still probably 400 to 500, I would say. As far as our entire metro, median home price is like 350 right now. So you can get a starter home, a single family for maybe 250 to 300 right now. It's still really competitive, but certainly under 350 for something that's a starter. If you want to talk higher end luxury, someone coming from California, I mean, you guys could probably afford our nicest place, but the vast majority of everything is going to be under $1 million. Outside of going with a custom, you built your own home, really high end property, but the vast majority are going to be certainly well under $1 million. Even in the higher end areas, probably 6, 7, 800,000 is pretty standard for your run of the mill standard home. So
Yeah, you can't get a mobile home. You can't even get a condo in the 200s or 300s around here.
that's awesome.
But you do have, so we have unique types of properties because we're so densely populated and not a lot of land by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
The builders have found this unique type of property called a 2 on a lot, where they tear down a little home and they will build 2 properties on 1 lot. So they're essentially a condo because they share land, but they look like single family homes. They're separate. They share a driveway, or they sometimes have the garages in between the 2 homes so that you don't have shared walls.
Interesting.
And you can get, a decent size, you get a lot more bang for your buck when you do something like that, something a little over 2,000 square feet, built, in the 80s or newer, for between $1 million and $1.5 million.
That's $1 million to $1.5 million.
Mhm.
I was thinking you're going to tell me that was a more affordable option.
In Redondo Beach. Yeah. If you're looking for a single family, in that price range, you're going to want to probably go to Torrance, maybe El Segundo, Hawthorne, some of the other neighborhoods, but anything with beach in the address, you're going to be.
That's awesome. Very, very interesting. I mean, we see people moving here from there, and they're genuinely blown away with how much you can get, and then just buying their houses in cash for $1 million because they just sold their $2 million place where you guys are at.
Yeah.
And they're getting a bargain and everything they could hope for with considerably more land generally. So
I have to work with the opposite. When people are moving here from out of state, it's like
a little
culture
sticker shock. Yeah.
adjusting expectations big time.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about people moving from here to California, Minnesota, California. What are some of the kind of the first steps, the ways that you like to help them get introduced to the culture and the price points and everything else and figure out a great neighborhood? What are kind of those first steps?
So figuring out what their goals are. Are they a family with young children? Are they looking for good schools? What is the vibe they're looking for in a
Mhm.
community? Amenities, things like that. And I can help them kind of
Sure.
establish what are the best neighborhoods of obviously getting pre-approved so they know what budget they're looking in.
Hmm.
And then we can go from there.
Yeah. So what I like to do when people come out here is come see what it's like, at the very least spend a weekend or something getting to know the communities and then we'll start shopping. Is that how you guys like to do it? Or, what's your recommendation for somebody that just doesn't even know, Torrance from El Segundo?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love to drive around and get them familiar with the various micro areas because block to block, it can really, really vary. And you
Sure.
have, South Redondo Beach looks very different from North Redondo Beach. El Segundo
Sure.
even has a whole different vibe. Manhattan and Hermosa Beach are very different from Redondo Beach, for example. So I
Sure.
love driving around, getting a feel for the neighborhoods and getting to
Hmm.
know, their likes and dislikes before
Hmm.
we dive into the home search.
Yeah, I love it. We've also around here, I've had a lot of people that will just pull up Google Maps and they'll do the street view and they'll just street view down an area. I'm like, I don't really like to look at this area. I like this area better. So I think even just doing a little research online, doing that will help you to understand types of architecture and what you like and what you don't like. So I love it. We're the same way. I mean, I don't think you can just up and move to an area and buy a house. I actually just had a client that they were just ready to make an offer on a property. They'd never been to the area, to the city, to the neighborhood, anything, but they just liked the house. And I gave them a virtual tour, through video and that was good enough. And then they kind of realized, oh, wait, we should take a step back. So I totally agree. Let's see the area. Let's drive around. Let's get to know a few different suburbs. We're very different than you. I mean, you're different block to block, and I don't think we're that unique individually, but we do have so many little suburbs that are immediately around the Twin Cities that if you go 10 or 20 minutes out, 30 minutes out, that'll be completely different areas. So you got to get to know the areas, talk to an agent like you or I that can really lead them in the right direction. Then obviously your budget's going to dictate everything. So if you can afford 10 million or 200,000, it's a completely different ballpark.
Yeah.
So I love it. Well,
Exactly.
thank you
And one
so
of the
much.
things around here that
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to say one of the things that draws people to the South Bay, Torrance, El Segundo in particular, is the school districts.
Oh sure.
We have each suburb has its own district, which fall outside of the Los Angeles Unified School District, which is known. LA Unified is known for not having such a great reputation
Okay.
in the public schools, and so
Sure.
people down here for really great, highly rated public school because in LA a lot of
Sure.
families feel the need to put their kids in private schools, adding to the
Yeah.
expense of living here.
Sure. That's good to know. So getting a little bit further out, a little bit more to the Southwest, get you better schools. That's good to know.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Good. I love it. Anything else I should have asked you about California that we didn't talk about that people should know?
You got to be able to deal with the traffic for sure.
Hmm.
Um, every place has its pros and cons,
Yeah.
obviously, but I think what keeps people here is really the weather and the lifestyle. It sounds silly in a way, but
Hmm.
being able to live that outdoor lifestyle year round
Hmm.
has a huge impact on quality of life, especially after what we've seen over the last year and a half in this
Hmm.
pandemic,
Yeah.
depending on when you're watching this. But
Sure.
even people who live in smaller homes didn't have to be cooped up inside. We were able to get out, year round, and it makes a huge impact on, like I
Hmm.
said, health and quality of life.
Yeah. I love it.
That's why we pay
Cool.
the big bucks to live here, for sure.
Yeah. And it's apparently worth it. I love it.
Mhm.
That's cool. Well, if anybody's watching, make sure and go find contact information. We'll link it to both of us in the descriptions below. So make sure and go learn more about Shira on her channel, and you can learn more about mine on mine as well. It's living in Minnesota. Do you have a name for your Shira, or is it just your name? on your YouTube channel?
I think it's just my name on my YouTube
Okay,
channel. I should
perfect.
know that one. Yeah,
I should too. I just
name,
changed
it
it.
does
So
say South Bay Homes by Shira, but I think if
perfect.
you want to find me, Shira Adatto.
Yeah. Awesome. And we'll link contact info, everything else below. So make sure and find that. Subscribe to both channels. Would love that so much. And we'll see you on the next one.